Cheers, boys.
Cheers. Cheers to the social hour.
Cheers. Cheers.
Bill, hopefully you can stay awake. What I'd like to discuss today, just out of the blue, I don't really know why, but I really want to go over the best running backs the Patriots, the New England Patriots franchise, has ever seen. I don't have a lot of criteria for that. I don't even actually have a lot of questions for that. I just want to go open discussion, the best. However you want to define that, however you want to describe that, we can go down multiple facets, and inevitably let's all try to come to a conclusion on who we think is the best running back the Patriots organization has ever seen in their existence, from the AFL until now. And, let's be honest, it's not a team that's been driven or led by a lot of running backs in their career. Certainly not in the dynasty era where it's all Tom Brady on the offensive side of the ball. So, to me, it kind of brought up an interesting question, made me look back and do a little deep dive into some things that are not normally talked about. So, I want to shoot it over to the totem pole of Dom, Ray, to kick us off. And I just want to get your initial reaction when I say the best running back the Patriots have ever had. Who's the first running back that comes to mind when it pops into your head? Never mind your data or all the shit that you thought about. When it just the first thing coming to mind. If it's one or two, that's fine. But what's the first thing that came to your head when I said best running back of all time on the Patriots? Corey Dillon.
I knew you were going to say that.
Played here only 3 years, 43 games. He's ninth on the team for attempts in 3 years. Eighth in yards with 3,180. He has 37 TDs, third in Patriots history in 3 fucking years. I mean, what he did for this team, he revitalized his career after getting traded from the Bengals. Did he get traded or free agent, Bill?
Second round pick.
Yeah, so it was a trade. So he came here. Bengals probably thought he was done. Came here, won a championship his first year. I think he's the best in my lifetime Patriots running back that I've ever seen.
In your lifetime, maybe. But that the interesting thing about Corey Dillon is those stats are padded heavily from that 2004 season, which is widely considered top, 10, 12 best seasons an NFL running back has ever had. 1,700 yards, 13 touchdowns, 14-2. He was the head of that offense. Yep. They went on to win the Super Bowl. That 2004 Corey Dillon was one of the best running backs the NFL has ever seen. 2005, injuries.
Maroney came too.
Maroney. I said it again.
Did again.
Lawrence Maroney.
He still got 1,000 yards that year.
Yeah.
06 was less so, but he was still, point of the offense. We've gone over this. Brady
was hurt too, and I think
taken over. But
he checked out in that 06 season too. He mossed it. His third year.
But yeah, he got 2 Super Bowls with the team. He's got 13,154 total yards from scrimmage in his career. 3,600 of that was with the Patriots. So he was a beast. His talent. If you talk about talented running backs that the Patriots have had, Corey Dillon's going to be on the top of that list. His tenure makes me hesitate calling him the best. So let me throw my question to you, Bill. When I say best Patriots running back of all time, who comes to mind?
Curtis Martin.
Ooh,
so
Curtis,
again,
my favorite Martin.
You want to talk about tenure, 95 to 97, but he had
3 years. 3 years, right?
958 carries in that 3 years, which was more than Dillon. He also had 3,800 yards, which is 4th all time in 4 seasons, and 32 touchdowns. I mean, he's the best running back we've seen on the Patriots, at least in our lifetime for sure. I think he was you can't say he's more impactful than Dillon, but he did start a Super Bowl. They was in the 95 season. They went to the Super Bowl with him. I mean, it wasn't his fault they didn't win, but And he's a Hall of
166
Famer.
yards against the Steelers, still a playoff record for the Pats.
And I think
96.
Garrett,
The Steelers was
that was the fog game
yeah.
at home, the fog game, and they beat
Just
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, yeah.
Did Blunt beat that record?
I think he got 168, or it's really close. It's right up there. He had the 160s against the Colts that one year. I think 2014 or the year before. I don't remember. It was one of those the year before. But yeah, when I think Patriots running backs, I think of Curtis Martin. I mean, I can't go with these guys from the 60s and 70s because, one, I wasn't born, and two, you don't hear enough of them. And I think Martin is because Bill Parcells stole him to the Jets. But you're talking about, I don't know, top 5 running back in the history of running backs?
6 all-time in rushing yards.
Yeah.
With so yards from scrimmage is 17,430. He's got, I think, 14,000 something rushing yards, 6 all-time. He had 90 touchdowns, 90 career touchdowns. Just the one Super Bowl appearance, though.
Yep.
Just
But, I mean, you want to talk 90, 95, 96, he had 28 touchdowns. He had 14 touchdowns, 95 and 96 each season. I mean,
1,500 yards his rookie year, 3rd-round pick.
Yeah, and then he followed that up.
Deal.
He went 1487, 1152, and 1160 in his 3 years with the Patriots.
He was a Pro Bowler first 2 years of his career, too, with the Patriots. Rookie year and his second year.
And he averaged 4 yards a carry, too. I think that's another huge thing. 4 yards a carry. He was fucking
I'll never forget.
Corey Dillon, excuse me, but can I interrupt? Corey Dillon, 4.23, just so you know, Bill. Suck a dick.
Corey Dillon's a wife beater, so
as a young boy watching the New England Patriots in Old Foxborough Stadium, I will never ever forget the game that I went to. Second play of the game, right sideline, Curtis Martin off tackle, fake left to the sideline, 7-8 yards, touchdown against the fucking Dallas Cowboys.
He's so good. He was
Curtis
so
Martin, baby,
good. Number
number 28 in your program. So you mentioned the 60s and 70s, though, and for some of these listeners that don't know, we do have to bring them up. Sam Bam Cunningham is mentioned within the organization more than you're giving it credit for, Bill. He was with the organization from 73 to 82. He's got 7,358 yards from scrimmage. He holds the Patriots record for rushing yards. He's second in touchdowns. First overall pick, older brother to Randall Cunningham. He's got also a little fact. He's got the most fumbles in Patriots history too.
Say that too, yeah.
First. 49.
49.
You guys are doing your stats. The other guy, a little bit before him, Jim Nantz, not to be confused with Jim Nantz. 65 to 71, the old AFL. Look, this guy was a beast too. It is a different era though. So Jim Nantz, 1,400 yards, 19 touchdowns, AFL MVP in 1966. First ever player to go for 1,000 yards rushing 2 years in a row. Second in rushing all time for the Patriots, 5,323 yards. First in touchdowns at 45. But yeah, this is before our time. This is the 60s. This is the 70s. Cunningham broke into the 80s a little bit. It's definitely a different era of football. But it is an era where rushing was considered the way to play and without a lot of the rules that we're seeing. So people beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, and Cunningham was on till this year when the Ravens broke it, the highest rushing team in NFL history. It stood for almost 40 years, 39 years, I think it stood until this year when it was broken by the Ravens. But, yeah, they had 2,000 yards rushers, and I think Grogan was over 1,000 yards that year, or close to it. I think they were almost 3,000 yards rushing. I don't remember, but it was NFL.
I wanted to frame my question. I wanted to frame my question differently from best running back to best rusher, just so I could put Steve Grogan on the list.
He's on the
just so I could add Grogan on the list. Because you look at most ever touchdowns from a Patriots rusher, Grogan's in the top 10, I think.
Yeah. He's got 35.
It might be top 5. He's fucking up there.
Yeah.
Before
Jim Nantz is number 1 at 45.
Before I get to my pick, because we don't want to burn through this in 10 minutes here. Give me some of the other guys that have got your list, and let me give you a couple that we know are not going to get to the top. Maybe even not even top 3, but let's discuss their significance to the Patriots and how and maybe where they might rank. So on the top of that list for me, for definitely not best ever, definitely not top 3, but in terms of significance for the Patriots, current roster, James White.
James White. Yep.
Now, look, you have to frame that in the Tom Brady era, especially 2007 and beyond. The way that they built and framed and worked their offense, their running back is their passing game is an extension of their run game.
Yep.
So James White, we've had this discussion before, is arguably the best at that we've seen. And that Atlanta Super Bowl has a lot to do with defining that career.
2 out of 3 of us think this way, Rich. Only 2 out of 3 of us think this way. But
so,
go ahead.
Dr. Big Mac, I think he's referring to you when talking about the best receiving back that the Patriots have ever had. You believe not to be James White.
I want Kevin Falk.
Kevin Falk.
I think he was the biggest fan favorite. That I broke this list down into different parts, and I think Kevin Falk was a big fan favorite. Was here 13 years, 161 games, 6th on the team for attempts with 864, 5th with yards with 3,600, TD 16th. He has 3 Super Bowls and 4 appearances. I mean, every game you go to back in the early years, you'd always see a Kevin Falk jersey. He was a very popular player amongst the fans. Everyone loved him. He was one of those gritty guys that would get the first down on 3rd down. So, I mean, one of those fan favorite that I put as my pick as a fan favorite was Kevin Falk.
I love your pick, Ray. And let me go ahead and jump ahead in the segment because I'm going to give you my best Patriots running back of all time. Number 33 in your program, Kevin Falk. Best Patriot running back of all time.
This is your pick. Kevin Falk
this is my pick. Kevin Falk
pick.
is my pick. And if you've listened to any social hours before, you have to understand how I define what I think of a Patriot player or a Celtic player or a Red Sox or what is your impact on this team and how good were you? How good were you? Because there's impactful players that don't belong at the top of the list. But when you talk about Kevin Falk, Ray, you just gave us all the statistics. I mean, he's at the top or near the top of a lot of the most important statistics when we talk about running backs in Patriots history. And yeah, a lot of that has to do with tenure. But when you start making lists about best ever, tenure has to come into play. Absolutely. That's why Curtis Martin, who's one of my favorite Patriot players of all time, gets a big knock down the list. Same as Corey Dillon, who in 2014, if you're talking about the greatest running back performance of all time, Corey Dillon, 2004, I'm sorry, was could be at the top of the list. But if we're talking about a running back, a memorable, defining, impactful player at the position of running back, fucking Kevin Falk. It's like, think of all of the big plays that are not – think of all the plays that you and I and all the fans remember from the big games that no one really talks about other than 4th and 2 where he didn't connect. But the swing play, the 3rd and 6, the 3rd and 5, he was the prototype for that offense that they inevitably built in 2007 and beyond. Kevin Falk was the guy. Not only that, he was, to your point, Ray, a better runner than James White. Now, James White's career is not over. I think James White is better at doing what Kevin Falk initially started to do, and Shane Vereen took over for a point, Danny Woodhead for a while. I think James White's the best of that group in doing that. Yep. But Kevin Falk in his career as a Patriot, I get that he's not Curtis Martin or Corey Dillon, but I'm taking Kevin Falk on the Patriots all day long.
Isn't he also second on the Patriots all-time fumble list?
Why gotta be a Debbie Downer?
You know who's not on the top 5 of fumble list? Mr. James White, 28 in the playbook. James White.
So, Bill, do you put James White above Kevin Falk? So let's start hold on. So let's do a little on the cusp ranking. I think Ray already, Dr. Big Mac might already have him ranked for us, but maybe we'll get a Big Mac running back special here at the end. If you were to take a list, Bill, and say best of all time, you started with Curtis Martin. Let's put Corey Dillon, Kevin Falk, James White, and let's throw those 60s 70s and 60s guys, Sam Cunningham and Jim Nance in there. So what is that? Five, 6 guys. Where do you rank them?
Oh, fuck. I mean, I think White can do everything that Falk can do, but better. He catches more passes. I mean, he's maybe not the best runner in the world, but he's also a 4-yard. He averages 4.1 yards a carry. He had 86 catches in 2018. He had another followed up last year with 72. And if you think about Kevin Falk in the beginning, yes, he has 3 Super Bowls. James White also has 3 Super Bowls, but even in the earlier years, he was a holdover from Pete Carroll. But his first few years, he was behind J.R. Redmond. J.R. Redmond's in the Super Bowl catching in the game-winning drive. Falk was nowhere to be found. So
to be fair, James White was nowhere to be found in 2014.
Right, he was behind Vereen. So I get it. So that's why I'm comparing the two, because the first Super Bowls you can kind of just. I think White had 3 plays, or he was dressed for 3 games maybe. But you kind of see it when he was in that full-time role. You want to talk about the passing game as an extension as a running game. I mean, he was your prototypical guy for that. He catches everything. He doesn't fumble. He doesn't get hurt. Falk battled a little bit of injuries, got a weed suspension that cost Brady an ACL, and I'll stand by that. Thank you very much, Sammy Morris, because Kevin Falk's in that play. And that's the whole different ballgame. But yeah,
Rain Man. All right, you know the stats are flooring out your bleeding eyes there from the Truly's bill. But I asked you for a ranking.
I put James White.
All right, so hold on. So we're going Curtis Martin.
Yeah, I'll put James White over there. But again, it's hard. I like your impactfulness. So if you want to go with more impactful in longevity, you have to put Falk there. But I think his overall talent and the better running back and skill set, I would go James White just in skill set. And you want the best running back. I think impactfulness, yes, you could put Falk at 2, but I think the overall talent, White would be for me.
I agree.
If you were comparing the two.
We've agreed on this too. I think James White, as I just said, James White's better at the Kevin Falk thing. But when you talk about best Patriots running back of all time, which is what this discussion is about, tenure has to come into play.
Yeah.
And James White just has to do it longer for sure. I think, in my opinion. Also, era always comes into play in this discussion, and the type of NFL that James White plays in with the offense that the Patriots had developed by 2016 when James White was really a difference maker compared to 2002, 2003, 2004, where Kevin Falk was really coming into play. If 2004 is Kevin Falk's, if 2004, 2005, 2006, Kevin Falk's prime, that offense compared to 2016's offense, James White's getting more opportunities in scheme and the way that they had developed that thing over the years than Kevin Falk. So that's just kind of the way I look at that too. Ray, hold on. So Ray, let me. Where do you slot Kevin Falk and James White into maybe a top 5 discussion below Corey Dillon as your number 1? Where does Curtis Martin, Kevin Falk, James White fit into that?
James White's career isn't over, so it's hard to justify where you would put him on the list. So if you want my top 5, I'll give you my top 5.
Please hold on. So right now, what we'd like to present to the listeners is the Dr. Big Mac running back snack attack top 5. Go.
I'm all ready for Bill to shit all over my list. So
do you want to start at 1 or do you want to start at 5? Because we had to reverse this last time. So you want to go?
I'm gonna start at 5. Is that
Good
right?
job. Okay,
all right,
let's go.
At 5, I'd have James White.
Okay.
4, Curtis Martin.
Do you want to give any explanation for these, or do you just want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Well, James White, his career's not over yet. Let's see what he does.
Got it.
mean, he has 3 Super Bowls, but he's still.
He's got a ways to go.
Let's see what happens. He's not on the top 10 list, blah, blah, blah. Curtis Martin would be number 4. Obviously, short career here in New England. 2 Pro Bowls. He's in the top 5 list in a lot of things in 3 years here, what he did. Yeah. Great player.
Bill, how are you waiting for LeGarrette Blount to take the number 2 spot? I am.
I've been so
listeners.
I have him on my list because I know he was going to put him there.
Hold on, is it really? Oh, I'm sorry, Ray. I'm sorry, Big Mac. I didn't mean to blow that up. I didn't think you were actually going to go there. All right, go.
Let's just jump to number 2.
We'll bleep that out. I'll edit this. It's fine.
All right, so number 3 is Kevin Falk. Obviously, we just said long segment on him. Number 2, we haven't talked about him, LeGarrette Blount.
Dude, I knew he
Blunt force trauma.
Oh, I love LeGarrette Blount.
I knew he was going to go Dylan number 1, too. I'm a little shocked that he's going Blunt 2. I figured he'd be in top 5, though, but not this time.
All right, Bill. Rick, give us your LeGarrette Blount, your number 2 running back of all time, LeGarrette Blount.
49 games, 4 years with New England, 12th on the team for attempts. Oh, come on. When he got the ball on the goal line, weren't you just so fucking excited? Weren't you so excited when – are you serious? When LeGarrette
force trauma.
Name the biggest thing he did in 2 Super Bowls. Go.
Your mother afterwards, you fucking cunt.
Name the biggest thing he did in 2 Super Bowls.
I just did. Your
Besides
mother in
my,
Tampa.
Besides my mother, name the biggest thing he did in 2 Super Bowls that he
What's
played
the
in.
record he set? Didn't he
Name the biggest thing that Curtis Martin did in 1 Super Bowl.
Ooh, good one. But he
Thanks.
also fumbled against Atlanta and never saw the field again. So,
But still, he was a fan favorite. I enjoyed watching LeGarrette
yeah,
Blount.
because fat guys stick together. We get it.
Fat
Right?
guys stick together. When he was in Oregon, when he punched that guy at Boise State, I was just like, oh, I love this guy.
He was good in Tampa, though.
Got drafted to Tampa, came up to New England. I'm
Undrafted,
like,
but close.
Look,
He was okay.
LeGarrette Blount on the Patriots was an
No, he's 7th rounder. Never mind.
he
I
was
was
an
going to say, he was drafted. Yeah.
LeGarrette Blount was, I don't want to say an aberration because the Patriots, they had developed their attack. They had developed their offense, like I just was discussing with the James White situation, where you had a James White or a Shane Vereen, and you had a power back, whether that be, I don't know if you want to call Ridley a power back, but they had their 1-2 punch. They had their 1-2-3 punch, and LeGarrette Blount filled that role probably better than anyone we've seen in that offense, right?
Mhm.
And because Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, Rob Gronkowski were so efficient in the passing game and were so good at the no huddle, get a first down after 25-yard fucking, right up to Gronk, and then get on the ball and then give it to LeGarrette Blount when the defense wasn't ready. He'll run 6 yards because he weighs 450 pounds and is a bowling ball. And, you get to the goal line and you got one of the best offensive lines in the league, and you got LeGarrette Blount. So you get, what did he get, like 16 fucking touchdowns that 1 year?
18 in 2016.
18 touchdowns.
18.
So, look, I get that. But, yeah, no, I don't know.
Patriots record, too.
Classic fucking Big Mac snack attack top.
He just
top
shows
list.
his homertism now. Like, he only picks guys from, 2010 on. Besides Kevin Falk.
It's fine. I love it.
I love LeGarrette Blount.
He is a fan favorite. So I don't know if he deserves top 2. If you started at 5, I might be able to give you a little bit of credence. I think you're.
No.
I think you're.
This is my list. Is my list, not fucking Rich's list, not Billy Trash Can Bad Words. I'm a little cunt list. This is Ray's list. The Big Mac special.
The Big Mac special. If Bill were to make this list, it'd be, if LeGarrette Blount wasn't 2, it'd be like eating a Big Mac with the special sauce. It's just something missing.
Oh.
It's just something missing in there, and that's fine. And then obviously at number 1, Ray.
Corey Dillon.
Yeah,
Which I've already said earlier.
As you've discussed.
Yes.
Yeah. As you've discussed. Okay. No, that was fun. I'm glad we were able to get LeGarrette Blount out of the way. Okay.
Bill, your list was 2 people. Fucking Curtis Martin, James White.
He's sleeping, Ray. He's tired.
Oh,
I'm not
who's
done.
on the river all weekend.
You didn't ask for my whole fucking list yet, you dick face.
We did.
I actually don't want your list, Bill,
He
because I
did.
think it's going to talk about the same shit we've already been talking about. What I want from you, Bill, and then maybe you, Ray, is maybe some guys we have not named before that maybe deserve a little credit, or better yet, deserve a little shit. I would like, and that's probably going to be a little bit more on a time. I got a couple people in mind and might have just mentioned one.
The law firm needs shit. I fucking hated the law
You hated
firm.
the law firm?
Oh, I fucking hated
Dude.
the law firm.
But, Ray, the law firm was LeGarrette Blount before LeGarrette Blount. You understand that, right?
This guy was a
Come
fucking,
on.
Oh,
And he
no.
never fumbled. He never fumbled once with the Patriots.
Bill, back me up on this. Before LeGarrette Blount, the law firm who
Absolutely.
give me his actual name because I don't even fucking remember
Ben
it.
Jarvis Green.
Ben
Ellis.
Jarvis Green Ellis was LeGarrette Blount before LeGarrette Blount. He was a no-name, big back, big power back that the Patriots schemed into yards. And then that turned into fucking LeGarrette Blount, who was better at it, sure, but didn't Ben Jarvis Green Ellis go get a fucking contract somewhere and then
Cincinnati, he got
completely
paid.
fucking fail out?
Yeah, he didn't do shit.
Flame out? Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah,
Look,
That's a Patriots. Yeah, that's
Blount went to the Steelers and literally quit so he can come back to the Patriots.
No,
Come
he
on.
smoked a lot of weed and got arrested with.
That might be true. That might be
Fucking
true.
came
He
back.
got
No,
paid from the Steelers,
see,
got his
and
ass
then the
cut,
Patriots.
and then won a fucking Super Bowl with the
Uh-huh.
Patriots.
Dude,
That's the Patriots
Ben
way,
Jarvis
baby.
Green Ellis used to drive me crazy. Like, he'd run into the line and just fall down. He had no moves. It was north-south, but he had 29 touchdowns. I mean, for an undrafted guy, it's good production. And it was one of those guys that built, like, it just proves that you don't need to have any skill set as a running back in the Patriot system. As long as you can run the ball,
So let me ask you this question. What does that say about Sony Michel?
that he's fucking terrible and he cannot stay healthy. But no, Sam Cunningham needs to be mentioned, but the problem is I put him kind of low on my list because he also played behind the best offensive line in the history of the NFL for a good stretch of time with John Hanna there. I mean, you're talking about he's probably a top 3. He's the best guard of all time. Washington, who they just put into the Patriots Hall of Fame this year. I think that was his name. He had passed away a couple years ago, but they formed the 2 best guards. That offensive line was disgusting. So I take a lot away from what Cunningham accomplished, so I have him pretty low. I mean, Jim Nantz was good. Again, he kind of piggybacked up before Cunningham, so he got that really good offensive line in the beginning, so Cunningham came after. But I don't know, I like Shane Vereen there. I mean, Shane Vereen was a good player. If you kind of throw him into the Vereen and Falk and James White role, he kind of bridged the gap between the two after Woodhead was there.
Let me ask you a question. Woodhead or Shane Vereen?
Woodhead. But
right?
He never stayed healthy.
Woodhead.
Yeah.
He between him and Aaron Hernandez, that 2011 Super Bowl, I think Woodhead caught the first touchdown and Hernandez caught the other one, but both of those guys could have been MVP if they won that game. Because Woodhead that season was awesome when they got him for the Jets in 2010. And then
he was nasty.
He was disgusting. And then he went to the Chargers. He was so good with the Chargers, but the undersized running backs, his legs gave out quick. Knee injuries, all that. I think he tore his ACL a few times. Then he went to Baltimore.
Baltimore, it was where he ended his career,
year,
yeah.
Then he was done after that. But
who else are we missing? So Stephen Ridley was in there with Shane Vereen.
He had 1,200 yards the second year, and he was he was good. He got knocked out cold by Ray Lewis or Bernard Pollard in the fucking AFC Championship game.
Sony Michel reminds me a lot of Shane Vereen in the style of running, a little bit slow to hit the hole.
You mean Ridley? Not Vereen.
Ridley. Yeah. Stephen Ridley. Sorry, Sony Michel reminds me of Stephen Ridley in their style of running, but I think Stephen Ridley was even better. Just a little bit slow to hit the hole. When they hit it, they could maybe do a move or two. They had them in them, but you weren't expecting a ton from them, but they were going to benefit from the offense.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, Ridley's second year at 1,200 yards. He was a fucking stud that year. But
peak of the Brady offense though.
Yeah, oh yeah. But he couldn't hold the football. Could not hold on to the fucking football.
After a couple years, he got that fumbleitis. Yeah.
I got 2 for you. 2 what ifs. So the first one's Robert Edwards. What if he didn't go to that Pro Bowl and tear his knee up?
You saw the talent because he came back and I think he rushed for 1,000 yards or 950 Miami.
Yeah.
Later on after
but that was only 1 year. Yeah, that was only 1 year.
He almost died. That's why you don't have the beach flag football game anymore is because
of him.
He ruptured it's
ACL, I thought.
No, but he tore every ligament in his knee and then he hit a artery. So
I vividly remember it in my brain.
It didn't
the
even
replay.
look bad. He just came down on the beach and he tore everything. And they said if he got to the hospital 20 minutes later, he would have died. Yeah. They almost cut his leg off. And that sucked because I think he had 1,100 yards his rookie year.
He was
1,100.
He was
1,115 yards.
He was
9 TDs.
He fucking bridged that right after Curtis Martin, dude. He was so good.
Yeah.
And that was it. That set him back. I mean, you relied more on Falk a little bit, and then that's when you had to go out and get your J.R. Redmonds and then Antoine Smith.
Yeah.
Think about that. We had 2 Super Bowls with Antoine Smith because
I was going to bring it up.
The guy.
I was going to bring it up, but Antoine Smith's relevance is really only the Super Bowls, right? I mean, well, look.
He had 1,000 yards, I think, in 01 or 02.
He guided Tom Brady.
Yep.
as the running game was the spearhead of that Patriots offense with Tom Brady at the helm until call it 2005, 2006. So Antoine Smith was an important piece to the beginning of the dynasty.
Yep.
So you have to you kind of have to look at everything from that orb of impact, like I talked about, but he doesn't have the tenure or the talent for me to crack into what we've been talking about. Ray, did you have one more there?
I did. Jonas Gray. What if Jonas Gray didn't become a total douchebag after that fucking Colts game?
He did. Actually, he overslept, and then we never heard from him again.
That's what I'm saying. After the Colts game, he thought he was a superstar and could do whatever the fuck he wanted. Overslept, got cut from the team. Never heard from him again.
That Jonas Gray situation was the classic, prime Patriots way. Oh, you think you're the shit, and then you miss a practice, and then you get scolded, and then you can never come back from it, either physically or mentally, or whatever the hell is harboring you from getting it. Or maybe you just weren't that good to begin with. But either way, yeah, Jonas Gray is a name that Patriots fans will know. Nobody else fucking knows.
No.
200,
was it 4?
Yards,
How many touchdowns? 4 touchdowns in Indy, right?
The last one, Gronk took
and that Indy
Sergio
defense
Brown out of the club.
Yeah, that was the recruiting school. That Indianapolis defense was one of the worst defenses in.
Oh yeah, because you saw it in the AFC Champion. You saw it in the Deflategate game when they won 45-7. What happened? It was the same plays. Except they switched out Jonas Gray for LeGarrette Blount. And if you watch that, was that the Do Your Job in 2014? They literally say it. They're like, it was the same game plan. We did not change anything. It was the same exact game plan. And they still couldn't fucking stop it. They did it 3 games in a row.
Do you think when they go to the coaches meeting, they just laugh and be like, watch this. We're not going to change a thing. We'll just fucking do the same thing over and
You saw
over
it in the game until they could make one fucking play.
Yeah.
Brady didn't have to do shit, but that Jonas Gray game was – Gronk, what are you fucking up the sidelines? And then
that was a Monday night game too, right? I think that was a Monday
Sunday
night
or Monday night game. Yeah,
I just had to throw him out the club. Throw him out the club.
He was doing a little bit of this. I had to throw him out of the club.
No, there are definitely teams and schemes that Belichick toys with for sure.
Yeah,
and McDaniels and those guys, they just go, yeah, we know exactly what's going to happen here. Let's see how much we can get away with against these idiots.
Yeah.
That's gone because Cam Newton can't do that. That's gone.
Ye of little faith. Ye of little faith.
I already talked myself out on Cam Newton. I don't have to start talking myself back into it. So,
Bill, you have to ride the fence like me. You have to.
You're not on the fence. You're fucking over the fence.
No, I have described my position clearly on multiple occasions. I think Cam Newton needs to shut the fuck up, and I think he's a front-running loser. But I have faith in the Patriots organization and Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels as coaches, and the skill set is there, and if they can harness it and control his massive ego, then there's a chance that you can have success within the offense as Cam Newton as your quarterback. That's my stance.
And Ray, you've lost all credibility when, 1, you named the Blazers as the 3rd best trio in the NBA, and number 2, put LeGarrette Blount in the top 2 of Patriot running backs of all time.
Well, let's hear Bill's. Let's hear yours.
Hold on. No, I want to defend Ray. As the bottom of the totem pole of dumb, he has a process that goes into place. It's called throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks. Eventually, he's going to be right, and per his personality of see you next Tuesday, we will never hear the fucking end of it.
Right.
Yep.
When one of these idiotic, stupid fucking things comes true, you're going to get a butthole tattoo, and we will never hear the fucking end of whatever he's right about. If for some reason, if LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo get goddamn fucking COVID and Damian Lillard gets to, the second round in the NBA fucking playoffs, he will never, ever, ever let that down.
Yeah, Charles Barkley just picked the Blazers to actually beat the Lakers in the first round in the NBA playoffs.
Well, fat guys stick together.
That's right.
Fat guys stick together. Should have went to Auburn. Damn it.
Oh, shit. That's so funny.
You're not smart enough to get into fucking Auburn.
It's in Alabama. Are you serious? I'd be a fucking president if they had a president down in Alabama.
Because you're racist?
No.
Yeah. Jeez, I don't know if I could do a podcast with a racist.
Isn't Auburn in Georgia?
No, it's in
Oh,
Alabama.
Alabama. Are you fucking serious?
Clemson's.
I'm not a football guy. All I know is West
Oh, no,
Virginia
Clemson's-
Mountaineers.
Yeah.
Country Road.
Oh, Clemson is in Georgia. My
Yeah,
bad.
Clemson's in Georgia.
They're both
Clemson's
orange.
in South Carolina, you idiots. What the fuck?
That's true.
Simple minds, Ray. I've been drinking. Look at the
my-
size of this beer. It's like a
That's
Foster.
not a Bud Light. That's not a Bud Light.
I found something better.
There's nothing better than a Bud Light on a nice hot day.
No, truly, on a nice hot day, it's way better than a Bud Light.
True that.
You want my list real quick? I'll run it down.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
fast.
Yeah, go.
Sure.
Cunningham at 5. Dillon,
Ooh.
James White, Kevin
Ooh.
Falk, Curtis Martin, number 1.
Wow. You got James White above Corey Dillon.
I do.
Hmm.
Yep.
That's banana land.
Yeah.
Tell us why.
The dual threat, the extension of the pass game, and I think you're going to see it more with Cam here now. You saw Brady use it more, but when the offense evolves, but now you're seeing a guy that utilizes the running backs just as much as Brady did. Your checkdowns. I think White's going to have another 85, 90 catches this year. The last 2 years, again, I think you want to talk longevity. He's been on the team since 2014. He signed again through next year, so I think you're talking about direct impact of two Super Bowls, where Dillon only played in the one, and NFL record. What do you have? 16 catches in the Super Bowl, 3 touchdowns. I mean,
Should have
Dillon,
been MVP.
he should have been MVP. Yeah, well, it's hard when Brady was 450 yards and 250 were in second half and overtime. Or
Edelman won that
overtime.
MVP.
Yeah.
Huh?
Edelman won that MVP.
No, Brady won
Nope.
against Atlanta. It was Tom Brady.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about.
Against
Brady-
Atlanta?
Yeah.
Oh,
He
I'm
had
sorry.
16 catches in the Super Bowl and 3 touchdowns.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's
He's
why I
been
put him
drinking.
again. And I think you have more. I think James White has made more of an impact outside of that one season that Dillon did. I mean, yeah, he set the Patriots record. He had 16 touchdowns, 1,653 yards. But I just think he faded in year 2, and for year 3, he Randy Mossed it and checked out. We're talking about a guy that's a pretty big focal point in the offense since 2015. And he's still playing. So that's why he's my number 3. And again, I find him more talented than Kevin Falk is. But if you want to talk impact and longevity, Falk, I think, would be my number 2 for sure. And then obviously Curtis Martin.
You know what the most frustrating thing about James White is the shoestring tackles.
Yep. Well, you say
Like-
the same thing about
There's some points where
yeah.
he can juke a guy out of his fucking shorts and he goes for another 25 yards. And then sometimes someone barely touches his shoe top and he falls over.
Yeah. Oh, I want to throw Deion Lewis too. I know he had
Deion
a
Lewis
short
was
run,
good.
but he had that catch he had against Dallas where he juked the guy from behind. Oh my God. And then the next week he tore his ACL. I was at the game against Washington. He tore his ACL the same year. It was
Yeah, the post move against Dallas was
legendary.
unforgettable.
I think that was the number 1 ESPN top 10 for 2 or 3 weeks in a row because it was just disgusting.
You would know, numbers man.
Rain
I don't
Man.
really watch ESPN anymore, but I think at the time.
Yeah, Deion Lewis, another guy made his career and got paid, and has been mediocre pretty much ever since.
He just got cut from Tennessee. He's out of the league now. I think no one signed him. But the Patriots revived his career too. He was a scrap heap out of Cleveland. They got him out of Cleveland. Mike Lombardi
Yeah.
signed him in a futures contract the year before.
Danny Woodhead.
Yeah.
Danny Woodhead. Most of those guys they draft, but yeah, there's been a couple of them that have.
They've hit. Bill does a decent job of hitting those guys second, third, fourth round running backs. I mean, Vereen came in the 3rd. Ridley came in the 2nd.
Yeah, look
White
what he did with Damian Harris.
White came in the 4th. Dude,
He's going to be a
Vereen
force
sat-
this year, man. He's
Hey.
going to be the next blunt force trauma this year.
White sat his rookie
I hope
year.
so.
White
Rex
sat his rookie
Burkhead?
year. Harris.
Where's
he's
Burkhead
cut.
on your
He's
list?
gone.
Jeremy
he's
Hill.
cut.
Look what he did with Jeremy Hill.
He tore his ACL, bro. Game 1.
I'm making fun of your fucking goddamn point, you idiot. Jesus.
Read a book, Bill.
Sorry. We're talking about drafting running backs, not signing cunts off the street.
You.
Right? Wasn't I just talking about drafting running backs?
It's all right.
No.
We'll cut this.
Yeah, we'll cut it.
I'm just trying to. I'm running through my head thinking of any running back we haven't named since 1995.
Sammy Gash.
And,
I was just
Sam
going to say
Gash is good.
But yeah, I mean,
Dave Meggett.
Dave Meggett. Dave Meggett was on my list. He was before that, though,
put
wasn't
a
he?
serial rapist on our list, though. He's in jail right now for raping.
You're on our
people.
podcast. I mean, we
I'm
can
not
talk
a fucking
about
rapist, you moron. Jesus Christ. But
He's
no,
just
I think
sketchy.
I think he's in jail. Dave Meggett.
Dude, Dave.
just sketchy.
Yeah, there's way difference between being sketchy and rapey.
I didn't even go. I didn't even go with the allegations, Ron. He's just people just consider him sketchy. There's
Touche.
He was Darren Sharper before Darren Sharper when it came to serial date raping.
Dave Meggett was a fucking Dave Meggett was a potential highlight show every time he got the punt, though. Every time he got a punt, it was a potential fucking highlight show. The little guy, little guy.
That's why I like.
He was a Giants. He was a Giants pullover.
Yeah. Didn't he get arrested in Toronto or some shit like a couple nights before a game too, when he was with the Patriots?
Allegedly, Bill. Allegedly.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
Sorry.
He's sketchy.
Yeah. Is that what we call rapists now? Sketchy.
No, why don't you talk to your hero, fucking Mike Tyson?
Yeah, he's gonna fight a great white shark next weekend, huh?
Tune in for that,
fight
folks.
A great white shark.
Tune in for that.
God.
That's gonna be must-see TV. That'll be live streaming. This has been the Simple Minds Social Hour. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next Sunday. He's gonna fight a great white shark.
Dude,
I saw that. I thought about putting that in the headlines, but like, nah, we can't talk. We can't
It
talk
was like
about
when
this
Michael
shit.
Phelps swam a great white shark. Like I'm so interested to see how they're gonna do this.
You would think that Mike Tyson could take it another level than Michael Phelps. Like, put him in a fucking cage and see what happens.
True question: Can Mike Tyson beat a great white shark?
No, it would be they can't do it in 2020 because the PETA people will get all over them. But if they just put a great white shark in a tank without water, and then just let Mike Tyson beat the shit out of it.
I mean,
That would get a lot. That would get a hell of a rating.
I mean, no one really likes great white sharks anyway. So do you think PETA like really cares about great white sharks? They eat people.
Yeah.
Shark Week, maybe. Shark Week.
Yeah, it's coming. This kicks off Shark Week. Mike Tyson gonna beat the shit out of great white. Is that a hate crime? I'll take it. I like great white sharks.
I've never seen Shark Week.
You've never watched Shark Week?
Mm-mm.
The fuck is wrong with you? Coming from someone that's never eaten Chinese food, it makes sense. You've never even eaten Chinese food, so how do you know you don't like it?
Doesn't smell good.
Look, you made him leave.
He's pissed. Why is he so mad?
Because you haven't seen Shark Week, you fucking moron.
I know. I'm sorry. I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. I think he needs another beer. Blame it on
Oh,
the
fuck.
pussy.
That's what we forgot. Blame it on, is it the pussy? Damn it.
Blame it on the pussy. T-shirt.
Shit. All right, boys.
Peace.
Later.
Peace.